It is exactly 1 minute past 10 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in for UBC News tonight at 10 p.m. today on the 23rd of March 2024. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha. Welcome once again. In our top stories of the day, President Yoweri Museveni has defended the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Among, against those attacking her on social media over alleged corruption and irrational expenditure of Parliament. For weeks now, the Speaker has been in the limelight over alleged misappropriation of funds by Parliament. This has been done through social media under the hashtag Uganda Parliament Exhibition.
The President made the remarks today while addressing residents of Bukedea at Emokor grounds. The address came hot on the heels of his commissioning of Bukedea Teaching Hospital and College of Health Sciences in Bukedea District. The hospital was built by Right Honorable Among, who is also the Bukedea District Woman Member of Parliament. President Museveni explained that the real problem Uganda has are the traitors who work for foreigners.
Our daughter, the chairperson, and you talk so much on the social media about Anita Among. How about the ones who are working for foreigners? The imperialists who want Uganda, Africa to be a slave again. We are going to expose those traitors.
The president further revealed that he was monitoring through the intelligence to see what has been going on regarding the social media attacks against Right Honorable Among.
Then she said, once I built the school, the school started admitting children and the children are paying school fees. So the school fees from the children is the one I used to build the hospital.
President Museveni also thanked the Speaker for working closely with the whole government system, a thing he said has helped to hinder standoffs. On the other hand, President Museveni reiterated his call to Ugandans to get involved in food security and income-generating activities in order to improve their livelihoods.
We've been able to make sure that hospital supports the community.
The president also turned down the request to create another constituency in Bukedea, saying it is not wise. This had been proposed by the Bukedea District LC5 chairperson, Miss Mary Akol. Earlier on, the president had commissioned Bukedea Teaching Hospital and College of Health Sciences, a health facility situated in Bukedea District. The hospital, built by Right Honorable Among, opened doors for its first patients on 15th January 2024.
And because he's supporting the community.
During the commissioning, President Museveni commended the Speaker of Parliament for being a very active and innovative cadre who aims at transforming the lives of Ugandans through constructive projects. On her part, Right Honorable Among thanked President Museveni for supporting and keeping her dreams alive.
Now you are the only person who is there for me. You are the only person who knows me as an asset. And I will never disappoint you. And that one is my commitment.
She said the president supported her financially to set up Bukedea Comprehensive School in memory of her late father.
And whoever is doing the fighting, the God I serve will always fight for me. And wherever I can and whenever it is possible, I will bring development to home.
Speaker Among also thanked President Museveni for appointing General Muhoozi Kainerugaba as Chief of Defense Forces.
When you tell us move, we shall move to the side. And we shall be guided by the Holy Spirit.
The Minister of State for Primary Education, Honorable Joyce Muriku Kaduku, on behalf of the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, Mama Janet Museveni, said the commissioning of Bukedea Teaching Hospital was one of the fruits of President Museveni's vision of focusing more on sciences to socially and economically transform Uganda.
The First Lady extended her sincere appreciation to the Right Honorable Speaker for the investment in education that will go a long way to build the capacity of our students to become healthcare workers.
The event was also attended by the third Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honourable Rukia Nakadama, Government Chief Whip, Honourable Dennis Hamson Oboa, Minister of State for Sports, Honourable Peter Ogwang, Member of Parliament, cultural and religious leaders, among others. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji.
The Commander Land Forces, Lieutenant General Kayanja Muhanga, is in the Democratic Republic of Congo to rally support for UPDF troop operations against the Allied Democratic Forces. General Kayanja, in company of Major General Dick Olum, Operation Shujaa Commander, have met with operation officers on the way forward offensive for the remaining ADF remnants.
On arrival in DRC, the Commander Land Forces, Lieutenant General Kayanja Muhanga, was received by Operation Shujaa Commander, Major General Dick Olum, at the tactical headquarters in Runa. The two decorated generals held a meeting with the senior officers and discussed a number of operational issues.
The UPDF and the FRDC have done a lot in a joint operation, which has created a lot of environment for the people to move around. When General Kayanja comes here, he comes here to meet the UPDF. But once it's a joint meeting, then the FRDC is involved. That's where the two heads of Chief of Defense Forces come in. So it is upon the Commander Land Forces to come visit, to come guide us, to come give us a way forward on how this operation should be undertaken. And in so doing, we come and brief him of what we have done, what we intend to do, and what our future plans are.
Operation minutes will be forwarded to the joint review meeting to be held between the UPDF and Fadaka Chief of Defense Forces of the two armies.
That we undertake what we are meant to do, and we do it in a special way. We have now followed the ADF to the west of River Ituri, and we continue hunting them, we continue killing them, we continue rescuing so many children, women, and some fighters who come out. We are proud to mention that the joint force has had a serious impact on very notorious commander, as indicated recently on the TV, those who have been trying to infiltrate Uganda. Commander in the names of Abu Wakas, Amigo, Lumisa, Meya. These are people we have dealt on seriously. We've hit them so hard. We've rescued a lot of women and children, got guns, and we continue to do so. We've gone ahead to make a clear passage and communication means to the people of this area and to us, the UPDF, to ensure we can move freely from Beni up to command. The civilians enjoy the joint operation.
Uganda People's Defense Forces opened the Sector 4 to compress the remaining ADF rebels in areas of Erengeti, Mambasa, Kamanda Road Triangle. Haruna Mtesasira, UBS News.
In more stories, youth in various universities have been asked to internalize and learn from contributions of eminent achievers who endeavor to share their knowledge through authentic pieces like books. While launching a book titled Survival of the Fittest, A Tale of Resilience, at Statistics House in Kampala, former Prime Minister Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda said that this is a book written by a Pan-Africanist who captures the realities of African environments. Farida Nafka reports.
And to 3 and a 0, please. By Dr. John Bahana, Survival of the
A top locust scientist, John Bahana, has authored an autobiography entitled Survival of the Fittest, A Tale of Resilience. The book features how the author survived in a number of incidences and situations.
And as you are sloping towards the valley at a place called Maganjo, suddenly we were hit by bullets. And our taxi was hit. At that time, civil war was raging. There was Frelimo on one side and Renamo on the other side. And we were traveling along River Buzi. And bullets were flying all over the place. We reached again.
Mr. Bahana says being a scientist exposed him to so much danger in his 20 years dealing with locusts. Former Prime Minister Ruhakana Rugunda says this is an authentic book that captures realities of African environments.
Congratulate my brother Bahana for being a great example in authentically documenting his life and demonstrating that his life was an integral part of the community. Really great Pan-African example. Let us emulate his example by working as hard as he did and performing as well as he did. In one way, by writing this book, is handing over his baton. So receive the batons very well and perform better than ours.
The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Dr. Pius Bigirimana, encourages people to write books in order to share their valuable experiences and also inspire and mentor others.
Right, you have a unique story to tell others. Maybe you have got a valuable experience that you want to share. Maybe you have gone through trying moments and you want to share with others who may be in the same situation. So I encourage you to write.
In the book, Mr. Bahana describes his mother as a doctor since she used herbal medicine to save his life.
We experienced and suffered a lot of ailments. My mother would travel up the hill, either early in the morning or late in the evening. She would return with a combination of plant material, grind it, sometimes boil it. The sick child would then be given the concoction, allowed to eat as long as I was on my mother's medication. Hey, lots of long worms were injected from my tummy.
Bahana also describes how indigenous knowledge has been replaced by colonial education of cram work.
Some people had been supported at that time to stay on the ground instead of going into colonial schools and maintain that knowledge. Today, we might have had some very serious brewing industries.
Through that colonial education, but I think you should not castigate it as such, because we wouldn't have written this book, we wouldn't be here, we didn't.
This is one of the autobiographies authored by a scientist, since they normally have little time to write due to the nature of their expertise. I'm Navka Farida and Dan Lugemo in Kampala.
The first Deputy Prime Minister, also Minister for East African, Ministry of Water and Environment, has been tasked to do whatever it takes to ensure environmental conservation for the enormous socio-economic benefits to the country. In a message delivered on her behalf by the Government Chief Whip, Hamson Oboa, the third Deputy Prime Minister Rukia Nakadama, noted that the rate at which the environment is being degraded is alarming, hence the need for the ministry to tighten her grip. This was during the closing ceremony of the 7th Uganda Water and Environment Week at the Line Ministry in Luzira.
It is no secret that water and environment resources play a pivotal role in the socio-economic development of a country like Uganda. Unfortunately, according to the National Forestry Authority, cases of land grabbing, especially in the forest reserves, are on the increase.
Pressure on forest resources from other economic activities like agriculture, urbanization, and mining leading to deforestation.
While officiating the closing ceremony of this year's Water and Environment Week, the third Deputy Prime Minister, also Minister without portfolio, Rukia Nakadama, underscored the need for collective efforts in the conservation struggle.
Well-managed wetlands, riverbanks, and forests make communities resilient to extreme weather, events, and disasters, such as prolonged drought, famine, floods, and incidences of water scarcity.
This year's Water and Environment Week also hosted, on the sidelines, a number of activities, including youth debates that brought together learners from secondary and institutions of higher learning. Impressed by this methodology, the Government Chief Whip, Hamson Obua lauded the Ministry of Water and Environment for the use of debates as an innovative way to recruit the young generation in the environmental conservation campaign.
So young people do not take these issues of the youth debate lightly. That must shape you as a future leader.
Also in attendance was the former Vice President and the Presidential Advisor on Sanitation and Environment, Dr. Gilbert Bukenya, who challenged technocrats in the sector to align their expertise with the available challenges in order to caution Ugandans from effects of climate change.
Those who know and those plenty who don't know. How can we use this knowledge of all of you who know and they walk with you to places where the forests are gone? The water is very dirty and people drink it every day.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Water and Environment has launched a water supply and sanitation atlas for information of the actual status of the country's natural resources.
It helps us to map out our next decision and what you're going to do and what we shall prioritize on.
To sum up the day, awards were given in recognition of outstanding performance and partnerships of some stakeholders. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
State Minister for Fisheries, Helen Adoa, has affirmed her continued engagement with the fishing community to ensure the sector is more economically rewarding. Adoa who was reappointed, to the position 2 days ago, wants fisheries to become the leading foreign exchange earner for Uganda, a journey she is ready to spearhead. This was during belated Women's Day celebrations in Serere district on Friday, where leaders underscored the need to keep supporting the girl child.
It was initially meant to be a celebration for women, their struggles and achievements. It became double joy following the reappointment of Helen Adoa back to the Fisheries Ministerial docket. Women and men of the forces, those at local level, and students in their capacity, marched at Ogera Primary School grounds in Serere district.
And I am very grateful and humbled before him, and I want to promise the country that I will try to do better.
Adoa is also the woman member of parliament for Serere district. She could not hide her readiness to continue driving the fisheries sector.
My prayer is that cabinet and parliament supports me to put the fishermen in 2 groups per landing site. If I put them in groups per landing site, these groups of fishermen will jealously keep the area and will not allow illegal fishers.
This would not leave the women behind, just as the day's theme suggested.
I feel really most of the women are getting economically empowered, even at the rural setting. Like today when you saw these crowds, they are full of women and they see what others are doing.
This optimism was just in line with an earlier submission by Serere County Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Omoding Okabe.
Without a woman, there is no man. But we all need each other. Woman is superpower.
Other leaders, including members of parliament, agreed on addressing the plight of women and girls.
We still have teenage pregnancy at a very high rate in Serere, and as we celebrate this day, I request the men to spare the young girl and allow them to complete their study.
Most of them who
eventually fall pregnant are not able to return to school and become more vulnerable to poverty. So that is what has been generally spoken about, and it can't be overly emphasized.
There's a lot of school dropouts, and that eventually is associated with number one, poverty, number two, the pressure of parents to retain these girls to do some home course.
And therefore women must be appreciated in society, but women have to take the turn now, because you know the dependency of women to men, it has reduced.
In this regard, everyone has a role to play at all levels and avenues.
Church has a role to play, the community has a role to play, parents have a role to play, the schools have a role to play.
The belated Women's Day celebration in Serere was held under the theme, Accelerating Gender Equality Through Women Economic Empowerment. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you so much, Henry Okrut. Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC, with funding from UNHCR, organized in Kampala a roundtable meeting with key national and international actors aimed at providing legal services to asylum seekers and refugees. Under the theme Unpacking Access to Criminal Justice for Displacement-Affected Populations in Kampala, the discussion mainly aimed at service provision and joining forces to ease the lives of refugees. Zahara Bigawa reports.
Access to justice is widely viewed as a human right for everybody, regardless of their status. It is against this backdrop that the Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC, organized a roundtable meeting to discuss access to criminal justice for displaced affected persons. The head of programs at the NRC, Melchizedek Malile, noted that it is important to streamline legal aid service provision to as many people, especially displaced affected persons.
But also, when it comes to legal identity, some of them, they would come and they have expired document. It could be attestation cards. Sometimes they have not well registered, and then when they get arrested, of course, those who protect the law, they are scared that when they release them, even on bail, they might run away, and they don't know where to find them. And we always want to work together to find in instances where you have refugees who sometimes change places where they stay. How do you then track where they are? And is working with the law enforcers to make sure that we can find amicable solutions to support and make sure that we are in a process whereby we also don't end up detaining refugees for long. Because
the meeting focused on the objective of sharing information in existing services, identifying gaps, and agreeing on how to join forces to provide better services for urban refugees in Kampala. It was also noted that the more engagements with relevant stakeholders are needed to impact more knowledge on the right of displaced persons. Legal aid actors say that many asylum seekers and refugees are often traumatized, disoriented, physically and emotionally vulnerable. They often do not have legal knowledge of the Ugandan system and financial means to defend their cases and protect their rights.
How can we support to see that at least of these 193 we are able to provide legal representation, at least to 80%? Because when somebody gets out of prison, and there's a saying that if somebody wishes you prison, they are wishing for you death. So the reason is you're there, you don't have rights, you're there. So the idea of this is to come together, to put our minds together. How do we ensure that we give them legal representation? How do we ensure that we follow up? We have detainees who come as far as Chaka. Their family members don't know where they are. How do we support them?
So we get challenges in interpretation, getting statement from these people. It's very difficult. Somebody is speaking French, somebody is speaking Lingala, somebody is speaking Noel from South Sudan. It's very difficult, especially in a situation where they get involved in criminal activities. You want to interview them, you want to mediate them, you want to see how to handle them professionally. But language becomes a very big problem.
In Laparoscopy division, we have more than 1,000 refugees. I've worked with ICLA and LOCs. We have struggled to register them. There are very many. I gave a list of LOCs to ICLA. Whenever there is a case, I just refer to ICLA and I tell them to contact the LC. So kind of help police. We don't have all the facilities. Some of the cases are civil.
Zahra Bigaba compiled this report.
Medics have encouraged patients to opt for the advanced type of surgery that minimizes scares and also offers faster chances of recovery. Dr. Gideon Kurigamba, a gastrointestinal and laparoscopic surgeon at Mulago Hospital, says that the mild incision surgery is now gradually taking over the conventional surgery due to its immense advantages. Susan Naonga reports.
Laparoscopy, also known as keyhole surgery, is a procedure used to inspect and operate on organs inside the abdominal and pelvic area using tiny cuttings. It's also known as minimal invasive surgery because it uses smaller cuts to examine internal organs like the liver, pelvic, pancreas, small intestines, spleen to detect tumors, abdominal masses and cavities, liver diseases, among others. Laparoscopy procedure uses a thin lit tube that has a video camera inserted inside the abdominal pelvis and connected to a screen. It allows doctors to take a better look at the area of concern and also detect other defects that had not shown signs or easily seen physically.
You're doing an abdominal surgery. The ability to scan through the whole abdomen gives you a 360 approach to this patient. Someone might have an issue, say with an ovary that has a cyst. They have an issue with a gallbladder that has stones. Through the same 4 keyholes, you can remove the gallbladder, you can deal with the ovaries. If you're to do the conventional open surgery, you'd have to open to remove the gallbladder. Again, that is up, the upper part of the abdomen. You again open the lower part of the abdomen to remove the ovaries. And of course, you'll have huge scars.
Laparoscopy has advantages like shorter recovery time compared to open laparotomy surgery.
So the procedure is able to go back home in 2 to 3 days' time and able to return back to work in about a week to 2 weeks. Yeah, so the other disadvantages of laparoscopic surgery is just like it can happen in the conventional open surgery, you can have injury to the surrounding organs, yes. At the point when we are putting in, we call it carbon dioxide, which sometimes we call it insufflation. We put a lot of gas in the abdomen to be able to see well. You can have injury to the small intestines, you can have injury to the aorta, which is the major blood vessel.
However, the process takes longer and requires a big team of specialists and highly sophisticated equipment. Handling one patient alone requires at least a team of 7 medical personnel with different fields of expertise, and it takes about 8 hours for one complex surgery.
Equipment for laparoscopic surgery is not the same as equipment for open surgeries.
Mulago National Referral Hospital is one of the few fairly equipped public hospitals privileged to handle laparoscopic surgeries. On average, the hospital handles at least 20 cases a month, and these are mostly performed on elective or planned basis.
Surgeries might take maybe 6 to 8 hours, and so that means it is more or less one case that you can do in a day. But of course, considering that this is also a national referral, we have other competing interests of patients who come in. So we'll also have to allow space for these other.
In 2017, a team of 30 medical personnel from different fields were sent to India by government to further their training in laparoscopy. Dr. Gideon Kurigamba, a gastrointestinal and laparoscopic surgeon at Mulago Hospital, was among the beneficiaries. Through apprenticeship, this team is also training others to increase the number.
So when this team returned, we have seen the uptake of laparoscopic surgery go high. And now the advantage is that this team is now passing on skills, because in most of the centers where this is, like for example in Mulago, you have those ones who are training as postgraduates. they're able to tap onto this skill. And you can't believe that now, even up-country places, a number of them now, the centers have started doing laparoscopic surgeries. And so now with that, and then progressively through the institution, we have the refresher courses.
Laparoscopy surgery is used mainly on removal of ovarian cysts, fibroids, endometriosis surgery, gallstone removal, gastric bypass surgery, rectal prolapse repair, appendix removal, colon cancer removal, hernia repair surgery, tubal litigation and reversal, urethra and vaginal reconstruction surgery, among others. Susan Naonga reporting for ABC TV.
Moving on from that, UPC party president Jimmy Akena has spoken out his mind after a hotly contested woman member of parliament by-election in Dokolo district. Akena says that the party's big dream is to sweep all the parliamentary positions in Langosab region and beyond. Eddie Olwa gives us the detailed story.
Uganda People's Congress UPC party president Jimmy Akena and his newly elected Dokolo woman MP traversed Dokolo in a long convoy. The procession began from the candidate's home in Okwandul sub-county in Dokolo South. Along the way, voters kept waving and cheering at the congressman, while others were moved by the campaign song. From Dokolo district, they headed to Lira town and camped at Jim Akena's home. Many could be seen dancing around Leto Bote's monument on his compound. Others moved aside to show their rare styles after the victory.
I felt it's important that we acknowledge the support of the voters and the votes which they were given.
In an interview with the UBC after the victory celebration, Akena says the energy is a long-term plan to sweep all the parliamentary positions in the region.
I intend to make Lango completely red. So I'm putting all other parties on notice. UPC will be challenging for all positions and we intend to win them. I can also give you explanations of some of what took place. 2021 election was completely disorganized by COVID. And even the COVID process did not allow the sort of mobilization which we do as UPC. Those who have witnessed the Dokolo election, who witnessed the Yam election, a UPC campaign has music, has dancing, has a lot of activities, has interactions. Under COVID way, it was more like a classroom setting. We could not bring the best side of us. Now, at this stage, we are preparing for the 26th election. We've started our mobilization early. We're going to continue mobilization. And at this pace, the intention is to be 100% ready by the time we enter the campaigns.
Langosab region currently has 31 legislators, 11 coming from UPC, 14 from NRM, 1 FDC and 5 independents. 3 are NRM leaning, while 2 signed an MOU with the UPC. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Stakeholders have identified fight against gender-based violence alongside skills development among Ugandans and refugee population as a big factor in promotion of household economic growth. This was during the end of project by Care International Uganda and Seford in Arua district. Here's what our West Nile correspondent Joseph Odama with the detailed story.
Government of Uganda through its line Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the police in collaboration with the development partners are evidently seen in the struggle to averting gender-based violence in families. Care International Uganda, in partnership with Community Empowerment for Rural Development (CEFOD), are some of the non-governmental organizations collaborating with the government in the fight against GBV through their 5-year Women and Youth Resilience Project, WAYREP.
And we are closing it on 30th March 2024. Second result area of the project looked at prevention of gender-based violence, where we are applying 2 gender transformative approaches. That is SASA Together, that we adopted from Raising Voices, and then Engaging Men and Boys, which is a care methodology. And under this, we are working closely with the justice and law order sector.
Susan Amani is a refugee from Congo settlement who started refugee life as a child-headed family leader, but her story could not be the same after attaining training on savings and the fight against GBV.
Before we cannot save money, but currently we have groups whereby you save your money for future plan.
School dropout due to teenage pregnancy is one of the effects of GBV in families. After becoming a community-based facilitator on GBV, Amani decided to advocate for return of victims of teenage pregnancy in her community by engaging local refugee leaders at Omogo settlement.
The teenage pregnancy, it was so high in 2019 up to 2023. We have 27 teenage girls who are out of school, and due to our engagement, 18 of them, they have joined back school.
Emily Maturu is a host community member from Terego district who has realized change in her home as a result of fighting GBV.
Emisar saman repi bilinare madata deko alsadri adetamate. Mbata mani uniri ajimodi kuwa arita konda fipa mesakele gupibere obi yoto werera feane sarisi amechiti tualo ama feanziki skulua.
According to West Nile Regional Police Gender Focal Point Person SP Jimmy Anguyo, interventions by partners like Care International and the CEFOD have significantly contributed to efforts by police in averting GBV in West Nile.
Gender-based violence has mainly negative effects on our homes. One, it has accelerated the rate of school dropouts, and this has led to poverty. I really thank Care International in Uganda.
In the aspect of economic empowerment, many youths and women in Arua City and Terego district have attained skills in tailoring, motorcycle repair, hairdressing, soap making, and craftsmanship, among others. Sahia Aikoru and Ivan Asianju, both in Arua City, are already reaping from tailoring and motorcycle repair, respectively. But small capital still poses challenge to their expansion.
Model primary school, I got a contract. I shop for them, I expose wires. I have to buy 1 head of machine as my achievement for that work was here. But unfortunately, thieves are also there. They came and break here. Even I was having many materials already. I'm already employed. By now, I've been very far by the way.
Under draw, you send the foreign by near. Sir said, Madimu training the devil, Madimu, sort of a kid devil.
Political players, however, call for more partner support as the WAYREP project comes to an end.
We don't have a luxury of resources, meaning we do not have enough. If we think we are doing better in some county A, we direct this partner, which is coming with a similar program, to sub-county B.
Joseph Forama, UBC News.
In more stories, Uganda Biodiversity Fund, together with other civil society organizations in environmental conservation campaign, is promoting the use of biodegradable products as a way of cutting down on the plastic menace that accrues from importation, production, and use of plastics, especially single-use plastics. Ivan Amanigaruhanga, the Executive Director, Uganda Biodiversity Fund, reveals that the latest approach to the fight against plastics as promotion of Clean Products for the Environment project. The Clean Products for the Environment project seeks to produce eco-friendly products, thus reduce the amount of plastic pollution disposed of in the environment.
For long, government, through its different departments, has been pushing to regulate the use of plastics, especially single-use plastics, dubbed Kavera, but with minimal impact.
Over 8.5 million tons of plastics are imported into Uganda every day. So multiply that by 30, multiply that by 365, and get the kind of volume of plastics we have in the country.
Whereas there is a law on importation, manufacture and use of plastics, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, UNBS, contends that the enforcement is a nail-biting task due to the existing lacunas in the law, especially when it comes to the acceptable microns. Paul Walakira, a Principal Standards Officer at UNBS, says whereas the law prohibits importation, manufacture and use of plastics of 30 and less microns, the same is permissible as long as it is for industrial use.
Now, some individuals or some unscrupulous individuals have taken advantage of that leeway in the law to produce buveras that are less than 30 microns and for purposes of carrier bags. And once they are caught, they try to justify that these are made for packaging purposes.
It is for this reason that Uganda National Bureau of Standards is cautioning the private sector on the merits of operating within the provisions of the law. In the meantime, civil society organizations led by Uganda Biodiversity Fund have teamed up to promote the use of biodegradables as a means to cut down on plastic use in the country.
It's a project that is a pilot in nature that will be doing three things mainly. Teaching Ugandans about waste management, teaching Ugandans about recycling and reuse, but also introducing biodegradable plastics by way of working with plastic manufacturers and packaging companies.
This innovation comes with an extra cost to manufacturers, but Jacana Foods Limited and Rena Beverage Solutions are some of the sector players who think it is a worthwhile venture that could be embraced by all.
It's something actually that our customers are demanding from us, right? I see this as a new market segment opportunity for Jacana Foods if we can go more towards a green economy, which is something that our customers are asking for. So by having us replace a plastic that we can only recycle into something that can be biodegradable is only a win-win for both the planet and for us as a company as well.
The $556 million project aims at ensuring a cleaner environment for improved conservation of terrestrial and aquatic biodiversity.
The interim committee members instituted from government communicators have held a week-long retreat in Moroto district. The retreat was facilitated by Ministry of ICT and National Guidance together with Internal Security Organization and aimed at finding modalities to promote government programs by government communicators.
Our session this morning.
We are here in Moroto as an interim committee of government communication officers for us to be able to come up with a plan and ways in which we can improve government communication. The role of the Ministry of ICT is to ensure that we communicate to our citizens what government is doing for them, the various programs that government is doing. However, we cannot do this alone, and for this engagement that we are having in Moroto, we are partnering with ISO, the Internal Security Organization, for us to pave a way of improving communication up to the grassroots. We know that government has had a lot of challenges. People don't know what government is doing, or they think government is not doing anything, and yet there are lots of things that are being done out there.
That are ongoing right now to ensure that we create a system where government communicators work together as a team, keep on collaborating and ensure that the government story is told the way it's supposed to be. This will enhance knowledge of what government is doing among the public, and that's very, very important because lots of investment are done by government in different areas, sectors, but the achievements in those sectors are not usually widely spoken about. So we think that if we create a system through which we talk to each other and ensure that all stories from all entities are told, will create impact among the communities. Of course.
So we also have to up our game as government to upskill our communication officers to be able to aggressively communicate online. So that policy is supporting us to engage and also communicate just like the private sector does. You know, when the private sector is promoting their products, they do it aggressively. In the same vein, government is also supposed to aggressively communicate its programs to the citizens so that they appreciate the government.
Launch us into
Fred!
osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Have you packed more with Harbour jelly and Harbour foam? Yes, we packed. It will protect your skin from skin rashes. More with pack. It is a new improved more with Harbour jelly. So soft and smooth. It is a more with Harbour jelly.
Tell me, kids, the scent. Any irritations? No more rashes and irritations. Movit Herbal Jelly and Herbal Soap is rich in natural herbs for a smooth and glowing skin.
Movit all day confidence.
Are you planning or in the process of traveling abroad for work? Using irregular channels to find and travel for work abroad often seems cheaper and faster, but you risk being trafficked, mistreated, or forced to do work you did not agree to. Using proper channels is safer, offers more protection, and better access to support services when problems arise. Do not be deceived. Choose the proper channels. Always verify all information before traveling abroad for work by contacting the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, your local district labour office or DSOS office. You can also visit EEMIS website on eemis.mglsd.go.ug. This message is brought to you by the International Labour Organization with support from the Government of Switzerland.
Attention everyone! The Ministry of Health has planned to vaccinate all persons aged 1 year to 60 years old to protect them against yellow fever disease. The mass vaccination will take place in 53 districts in these regions: Kampala, Buganda, Teso, Ankole and Karamoja. Vaccination is free and available at all government health facilities and outreach posts in these regions. The vaccination campaign will take place from April 2nd to April 8th, 2024. The vaccine is safe, effective and free of charge and has been approved by World Health Organization and Ministry of Health. This message is from Ministry of Health with support from Gavi.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. In our business stories, in the effort, farmers, from the district of Teso have been oriented in citrus fruit farming at Awoja Riverside Farm in Soroti District. The move, spearheaded by National Agricultural Research Laboratories, is aimed at keeping the quality of citrus plants for both consumption and market. Emily Arayo, the Development Communications Officer at Naro Kawanda, says that this will help in rehabilitating a neglected 5-year-old orchard at this farm.
This is a group of farmers from Teso sub-region arriving at this orchard found at Awoja Riverside Farm in Soroti District. They are here to receive training in citrus fruit farm management. To take them through is Patrick Mahosi, a retired public servant and research consultant in citrus fruit farming.
And when you plant crops, you get good results. But as you harvest these crops and eat and sell, you know that you are eating and selling the nutrients, soil nutrients.
Following the canopy.
This is what he tells them before orienting them practically. The training is not short of questions and clarifications sought by the trainees.
When you have applied all this, will they still need more spraying or?
Lemon is resistant to most soil-borne diseases. But what we have budded there, the darling variety, the Sion, does not resist soil-borne diseases.
The soil in Teso is mainly marram, with a thin top, which is sandy. This makes organic manure to improve fertility more than a requirement. They have also been oriented in mulching and intercropping.
And when you apply manure, then you make sure you mix it properly with the soil, and you cover with the manure, with the mulch.
That it's possible that you can have a very good market for the citrus if you keep the quality right. If you know the right time for planting, the right time to prune, how to identify the diseases, how to treat your orchard, and how to maintain it.
To the farmers, it is a welcome gesture, worth sharing widely.
I didn't have these skills before this. All I could do was just pour my manure all over. But now I have learned that feeding of the trees takes place just around the canopy where the leaves end.
Most of the people want handouts, but we are trying to change now and say, no, we want to give you a hook. You learn how to fish rather than giving you a fish. Mm-hmm. That's what we are doing with the community right now.
With this acquired knowledge, quality citrus production will be guaranteed.
Previously, there were challenges of diseases, challenges of how to manage water and soil, of course, fertility enhancement, and also marketing. But with the help of the government of Korea through COPIA, one of our projects from now is working with farmers in Ngora, Kumi, Soroti, and Kalaki to improve the quality of the citrus, but also to help them market.
Teso sub-region in eastern Uganda is known for citrus fruit farming, which makes this training timely. Henry Okrut, UBC.
In the efforts to overcome the challenges of climate change, District Agriculture Extension workers have been encouraged to train farmers engaged in irrigation, especially microscale irrigation by government, and advising them to plant profitable crops to increase on their income. The Undersecretary Minister of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries, Ronald Jagenda Sigawa, was closing the 7 days training for District Agriculture Extension workers from 50 districts held at NFLC Kampilingisa in Biji.
In a bid to promote the agriculture sector in the country and overcome challenges facing agriculturalists, especially climate change, District Agriculture Extension workers have been encouraged to train farmers in order to complement government's programs of microscale irrigation. The Undersecretary, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Ronald Jagenda Segawa, encouraged agriculture extension workers to promote the microscale irrigation program and follow up its implementation and achievements.
You cannot have the challenges to that extent that in the 50th year, you have just supported about 1,400 households instead of 25,000. Is the problem money? No, the money is there. What's the problem? Implementing challenges. The usual story. So how shall we explain that we have failed to help farmers access irrigation facilities at such subsidized rates under the circumstances where we are now? How shall we explain?
He was closing the 7-day District Agriculture Extension Workers Training at National Farmers Leadership Center in PG, which was held under the theme Promoting Irrigation for Improved Agriculture Productivity through Farmer Field Schools. The principal, National Farmers Leadership Center, Okwaja John Bosco, encouraged the participants to utilize the knowledge and skills acquired in the 7-day training to train farmers in their respective districts and also endeavor to encourage them to embrace and promote commercial farming.
Go back home, transform communities. You're being taken through the farmer field school approach. Bring these farmers what? Together. Teach them how to identify these problems. And also teach them how to fix these problems. And problems that cannot be managed by them are the ones that they can come to you for further guidance.
Chito Collins from the Ministry of Finance, that's funding the Microscale Irrigation program, says despite the program's tenure that expires in 1 year's time, the ministry has allocated more funds towards it so that many more farmers can benefit.
Just like for the grant for extension services, we are working on ensuring that the required additionality, which is about 67 billion, is provided before next financial year commences. So the moment that gets...
The Microscale Irrigation program was introduced 4 years ago, targeting 4,000 farmers, although only 1,300 have so far benefited from the group. Sudat Kaye and Fred Kasibante, UBC News.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu, kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripsi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu eya Uganda.
Welcome back to the last segment of UBC News Tonight. The Cricket Cranes Uganda men's senior team has claimed a bronze medal at the 13th African Games in Ghana after they thumped Kenya by 106 runs in the third place playoff game played at Achimota Oval. The Cranes, who came off a humiliating loss against Namibia in semi-finals, left no stone unturned when they faced Kenya, choosing to bat first and setting a score of 206 runs for 6 wickets in their 20 overs. In the defense, the World Cup bound team didn't give Kenya room to stand, limiting them to 100 runs for 9 wickets in 20 overs and winning the game by 106 runs. Cosmas Cheuta took the Man of the Match award from the impressive performance, with the ball collecting 4 wickets in 4 overs. Simon Sesazi got another half-century, posting 66 runs, Dinesh Nakrani 51 runs and Robinson Obuya 28 runs. The Cricket Cranes will return to Uganda before heading to Sri Lanka for a training tour ahead of the World Cup in June 2024.
Campaign that it looks good on paper but will only be good enough for lost one match, but they are not.
I want to thank the boys who have managed to win four games out of the 5 games they've played. Of course, we met some rocks on the way against Namibia, and in sports I believe things like that happen. Unfortunately, our bad game came on a day where we had to put up our hands, but I'm very happy for how they came back today. That is us, that is how we play cricket, that is how we want to play cricket, and I believe this gives us momentum going into the next engagements. But
to win gold, but unfortunately they couldn't get there in the semi-finals. Yeah, but we're happy going back home with a medal at least. In the end, today we played some cricket that we've been playing before, and yeah, the boys really came out today and not able to win.
It was a good game. We played very well. Our batsmen pulled up their stockings today. Yeah, they scored 200, which was a match score, and that was our highest in this tournament. And we managed to tie it. I'm very happy because I've been out like fire, coming back to represent my country. I had to do whatever I have to do in order to show them that I'm still fit to continue playing cricket for my country, and I'm very proud.
Officials are here in Achimota watching this.
The one-month-long games launched Friday and organized by members of the Patriotic League of Uganda have kicked off with 2 games at Old Kampala's playground. The kick-off matches for both men and women are focusing on talent development.
Tournament, which is called Kampala Informal Sector PLU. Today we started with ex-internationals, with the organizers of this tournament. And the reason why I'm bringing ex-internationals, because of their connections and their experience, which I want to involve in this tournament so that our young people can learn from them. Today I ask them to be involved. They guide our young generation, the players, to guide them, to discipline them, and even help them to connect them to other clubs.
We are calling upon every Ugandan, mostly the youth, to come cherish and support this project that our incoming government is trying to establish in Uganda. We are here to enjoy as youth because we know that before anything, we must have a healthy mind.
The 2023 Federation of Uganda Football Association's organized drum competition has climaxed with Lango Province triumphed. Take a look.
Now in its 4th edition, the Federation of Uganda Football Association's organized drum competition continues to grow. For starters, this drum competition is a contest between Uganda's 16 provinces and is played by anyone that plies their trade locally. The 2023-24 edition climaxed with Lango beating Busoga by 2-1 in the final played at the MTN Philip Omondi Stadium. First half goals by Darius Ojok and Emma Obua were enough to secure the trophy.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank the Almighty who has given us this day and given us the trophy. We want to thank the team at large for the hard work that they have given out through these finals today. Yeah, it's been very hard to take over this trophy, but we really want to thank God for leading us into this day.
Busoga's consolation arrived a little late by Lawrence Tezekia in the 83rd minute. The Man of the Match award went to Lango team captain Alan Okello. Teso Province won the Fair Play award and Isaac Ogonya was the highest scorer. The best goalkeeper was Tony Camera and the most valuable player Dennis Omedi.
Grateful to be the champions today. Give thanks to the Almighty for being with us today. Give thanks to my fellow players for the great fight and to the coaches, the technical team for being with us from day one. Really grateful for this opportunity to win the trophy. This is all to the fans who has been with us from day one.
The tournament's best 11 included most of the individual award winners, with others being Jerome Kicho, David Dahibwe, Musa Ramadan, Isaac Ogwang, Becca Magunda, and Rashid, all who got goodies from sponsors Bet Power. The inaugural drum competition was won by Buganda, with actually winning the 2nd edition and West Nile crowned last year. Mashamira Victor, John Barnes Sentamu, UBC News.
Congratulations to the winners. Park FC reached the 40-point mark 15 weeks into the 2023-2024 Bet Power Futsal Super League season. The Rangers still remain unbeaten after defeating Luaga Grameen 2-1 on Friday night. Take a look.
Friday futsal games under the lights don't get much better than Park FC versus Lubaga Grameen. Match week 15 produced a cracker as Park FC fought tooth and nail to put away a stubborn side in defending league champions Lubaga Grameen. Abasi Junior's brace that included a second-half free kick was enough for the Rangers to beat their opponents by 2-1. Park FC believed that despite a difficult encounter, they always pull through.
Everybody can attest to what they saw out here. So we still showed who we are. Yeah, we are a team, a people, a group that can withstand whatever pressure is thrown at us. And I'm telling you, we're going all the way until the end of the season. This is how we're going to play. You're going to still see very many what you will want to deem shocking, but this is what we do. This is who we are. And I'm not surprised that we came on top. Yeah, there were a few mistakes here and there that we're going to clean up. And trust me, next game is even going to be better.
Yeah, we have won our game. Our main target is to win this trophy. So as you saw, the boys gave their best. As we had discussed about it, our aim is to win this trophy.
The Rangers now extend their league at the top of the 2023-24 Bet Power Super League table to 8 points, ahead of Luzera Football Club with 7 games to spare. Park FC, who remain unbeaten, have 41 points with 13 victories and 2 draws accounting to that. In other games, Football Club of Luzera, who jumped back to second place with 33 points, thumped Kawempe FC by 12-3. Mengo City returned to winning ways by beating Edgar's youth program by 5-0. Kisugu beat Nasana 7-1. Kisenyi drew 4-0 with Kaboa Dream Team, and Idenel FC beat Kampala Junior Team by 4-1. Mashamiro Victor, UBC News.
The government of Uganda has been commended for introducing sports in schools to provide all-round access education to learners. This was disclosed by Christopher Mureba, the board chairperson of Crested Secondary School in Machindi, during the school's Sports Day Gala. 3 houses of Joel, James and John competed in various games like netball, football and athletics. Joel House emerged winner with 731 points, followed by James with 649 points. And the principal of the school, Canon Lydia Iwinjira, says that sports is important in giving students an opportunity to explore and tap into their talents.
And mission to provide all-round education for the children who come to school. You see, my friend, education is tridimensional. It's theoretical, it is practical, and it is productive. But most of the teachers, through our traditional schooling processes, have been concentrating on the theory part of education, pumping knowledge into the children, in the head, without caring about the heart, the hand, and the health.
It is very important to ensure that students exercise, students explore and get their talents. And of course we know that some students can live on their talents. So sports is very important to not only to help them to exercise, but also to discover their talents. Like today, we've seen that there are some students who are doing so well academically, at the same time doing so well in sports, which means we are producing all-round students.
We have 3 houses. We competed in indoor games, and then the other outside games we had. The outside games we had netball, football, and volleyball. Then the indoor games we had chess, ludo, and draft. So but we had the overall winner of all. So in football, it's James that won. In netball, it's John that won. Then the overall winner was Joel.
Thank you so much for watching from the team, and I have a lovely night. God bless. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.